In the quiet, tree-lined suburb of Willow Creek, where the golden haze of sunset filtered through the dense canopy of ancient oaks that stretched their gnarled branches toward the heavens like silent sentinels guarding the past, their leaves rustling with a whisper of secrets carried on the breeze that danced through the streets, and the air carried the faint scent of freshly mowed lawns mingled with the distant aroma of blooming jasmine that drifted like a perfume through the air, a fragrance that clung to every breath. The year 2025 brought a whisper of change that would soon erupt into a storm of emotions for two families entwined by fate, their lives a tapestry woven with threads of love, betrayal, longing, and the fragile hope of redemption that flickered like a candle in the wind. Nestled along the winding banks of a Syrian river that reflected the shifting seas, its surface rippling with the passage of time like a mirror to the soul, Willow Creek was a picturesque haven of manicured gardens where roses nodded in the wind with a gentle sway, stately colonial homes with peeling paint that hinted at forgotten grandeur and the weight of history, and modern townhouses that gleamed with the promise of progress, their glass facades a stark contrast to the weathered wood, a place where appearances masked the simmering tensions beneath the surface, a fade of normalcy hiding the cracks within that threatened to split wide open. At the heart of this unfolding drama was Clara Bennett, a 29-year-old florist with soft hazel eyes that held a flicker of vulnerability, their depths reflecting years of quiet suffering etched into every glance, her life unraveling after years of a strained marriage that left her heart bruised with every unspoken word that hung heavy in the air and her spirit weary from the weight of unfulfilled dreams that haunted her sleepless nights, seeking refuge with her college friend, Sophie Larson, a lifeline in the storm that raged within. Sophie, a 30-year-old interior designer with a warm laugh that masked a guarded demeanor, her smile a shield against the pain she buried deep within the recesses of her soul, lived in a charming townhouse, adorned with her elegant designs, its neutral tones a canvas for her sorrows, that painted the walls with silent grief, her home a sanctuary that echoed with the silence of a fractured marriage, a hollowed space filled with echoes. Clara's husband, Ethan Bennett, a 32-year-old accountant with a reserved nature that hid his inner turmoil, his face etched with lines of concentration as he buried himself in spreadsheets that offered escape from the chasm of his heart, remained in their shared colonial home, its creaking floors a testament to their fading love that crumbled like dry leaves, a stark contrast to Sophie's husband, Lion Larson, a 33-year-old real estate agent with a charismatic smile that charmed clients with every word, and a restless spirit that mirrored Clara's own longing for something more, his presence a spark that ignited unrest within her soul. The turning point came on July 15, 2025, when Clara, fleeing the cold silence of her marriage that had grown into a chasm between them, her footsteps echoing with resolve as she packed her bags with trembling hands, moved into Sophie's guest room, a decision made in desperation as tears stained her cheeks, unaware that this choice would ignite a cascade of betrayals, relocations, and revelations that would reshape their lives, a ripple effect that would echo through the years like a thunderclap in the distance. Clara's life had been a delicate balance of beauty and pain, her florist shop a haven where she poured her soul into every petal, arranging blooms with trembling hands that sought solace, her marriage to Ethan deteriorating under the weight of his emotional distance that stretched like a shadow across their home, a darkness that swallowed their laughter, his late nights at the office a refuge from their shared silence that grew louder with each passing day, a distance that grew with every unreturned glance that pierced her heart like a thorn buried deep. Sophie, her confidant since their dorm days filled with late-night talks and shared dreams that once lit their futures, offered a lifeline, her townhouse a place where they could share wine that warmed their throats and tears that stained their cheeks, forgetting the past over soft music that filled the void with a temporary balm, a sanctuary amid the storm. But beneath Sophie's hospitality lay a fracture that ran deep, a crack in the foundation. William's frequent business trips that left her alone with her thoughts that spiraled into doubt, his flirtatious charm with clients that fueled her insecurities like a fire stoked by wine, a mirror to Clara's own isolation that deepened with each passing day, their shared loneliness a bond that tightened with every shared glance, a thread that bound them yet threatened to snap. On July 17, 2025, at 6:45 p.m. East, which aligns with 11:45 am set, as the sun cast long shadows over Willow Creek, stretching across the lawns like fingers of doubt that reached for her soul, Clara unpacked her suitcase, arranging her favorite vase with trembling fingers, its fragile beauty a reflection of her shattered spirit, when a call from Evan shattered her fragile peace, his voice hesitant, yet firm like a judge's gavel. Liam had moved into their colonial home, claiming he needed space from Sophie and offering to help Ethan with a property deal that promised profit, a bombshell that left her reeling with a mix of shock and betrayal. Stunned but curious, her heart pounding with a mix of anger that burned and intrigue that beckoned, Clara and Sophie watched as their husbands' lives entangled, a swap that defied explanation and stirred a maelstrom of jealousy that clawed at her chest, suspicion that clouded her mind, and a flicker of forbidden attraction that danced in her thoughts, a dance of emotions that threatened to consume them like a wildfire in dry grass. The arrangement deepened when Clara noticed Ethan's late-night calls with Liam, their voices hushed but warm, an intimacy that hinted at a bond that went beyond business, their laughter filtering through the phone lines like a taunt that mocked her pain, stirring a jealousy that gnawed at her like a persistent ache, a wound that refused to heal. On July 20, 2025, at 8:30 p.m. East, 1:30 p.m. Set, she confronted Sophie in the townhouse's softly lit living room, the air thick with tension that hung like a fog, Sophie's admission spilling out like a confession torn from her lips. Liam's neglect had driven him away, his charm a mask for his wandering heart that sought other shores, mirroring Evan's withdrawal from Clara that left her adrift in a sea of loneliness, a shared pain that bound them yet pushed them apart with every tear. The women bonded over their shared heartache, their tears mingling on the sofa like a river of grief, but tension brewed as Clara's lingering feelings for Evan clashed with Sophie's growing resentment, a rivalry that simmered beneath their friendship like a pot on the brink, each glance a battle for control that tested their bond. One evening, as the river outside reflected the moonlight with a silver glow, Clara found a love letter tucked in a drawer, its elegant script confessing Liam's feelings for Ethan, a revelation that rocked her world, its words a dagger to her trust that pierced her soul, a betrayal that cut deeper than she imagined, leaving her breathless. Sophie, enraged, her voice rising with hurt that echoed through the room, demanded Clara leave, the townhouse trembling with their argument that shook the walls, but a tearful reconciliation followed, their sons a duet of forgiveness that softened the air, revealing Liam's infidelity with a client, not Evan, though the letter's ambiguity fueled doubts that lingered like a shadow over their hearts, a question mark that refused to fade. The men returned, claiming a misunderstanding born of late-night talks that blurred lines, their apologies hollow like empty vessels. But the damage was done. Trust fractured like glass shattered on stone, homes divided by an invisible wall that stood tall, their futures uncertain as a storm on the horizon. By 2030, Clara and Sophie rebuilt their friendship, living together in a new apartment with new partners who offered solace like a gentle rain, their laughter a fragile melody that trembled in the air, while Ethan and Liam drifted apart, their careers suffering under the weight of scandal that dragged them down, their once promising paths now strewn with regret that weighed heavy on their shoulders. In 2100, descendants uncovered old letters hinting at a deeper scandal that rippled through Willow Creek's alight like a stone in a pond, their legacy tied to the town's social fabric, a tapestry of secrets that unraveled with time. By 3000, a descendant, Eliza Bennett, navigated a futuristic suburb where colonial etches blended with sleek towers that pierced the sky, fulfilling a legacy of reconciliation with a heart heavy with the past, its burden a silent companion, while echoes of the affair lingered, a whisper in the wine that carried through the ages.